everyone, welcome back to the Integrity Botanicals YouTube channel. Today we are finally reviewing the brand spanking new KJAER WEIS Invisible Touch Liquid Foundation. Now, if you are new to this channel, I am in love with the existing foundation that KJAER WEIS offers, which is their cream foundation. Been using that for years. It is a very full coverage, but very, very buildable option. So you can kind of get it as sheer or as full coverage as you want. Of course, it's in a cream formula, which doesn't always work for everyone. This new offering here, their Invisible Touch, came following their concealer, which I have just reviewed. So I'm gonna link that down below. So I knew upon hearing that name that this was gonna be a little bit more of a light medium coverage offering, which I think is such a great fit within the KJAER WEIS lineup, especially following that concealer launch. So let's start with packaging, as we always do. KJAER WEIS packaging is refillable. In this packaging here, which looks a little something like this, it is this frosted glass bottle that does say KJAER WEIS. The shade will always be here on the bottom. I use F140, which correlates to paper thin. So if you know your cream foundation shade already, you can always refer to that. Really easy way to shade match. This is a 30 milliliter or a 1 fluid ounce bottle, which is very, very standard for foundations. However, you'll notice that this doesn't have a cap. The iconic cap is sold separately. If you already have the 30 milliliter, the beautiful oil from KJAER WEIS, you could snap that on here if you prefer. I will probably just leave mine like this. Yes, it doesn't look as beautiful, but it does still function. So this is $48, very, very middle of the road price point as far as natural foundations are concerned. So I was happy to see that from KJAER WEIS. I'm sure the fact that the top comes separately plays into that as well. So there is a pipette applicator here. It's very, very thin. You could feel it suction when you sort of pull it out. One thing to note is that the pipette does not completely fill up with product. So I have heard from a few of you that that is a point of contention. I know that isn't ideal. It definitely, takes a couple extra steps to get more foundation out. However, it's not end of the world for me. It just is something to point out. The pipette does not fully fill up with product. It does about a quarter of the way, and I use like 2 syringes or pipettes full at that quarter amount to sort of apply on my face. So 48 bucks, Invisible Touch Foundation, packaging sorted, really, really great. 23 shades that we'll jump into, which is really exciting here as well. But let's first discuss the claims of this foundation. That's sort of how I set it up last time. Discussed the claims, sort of spoke about if I thought that was true or not, or true to what degree, and then I will go ahead and demonstrate this foundation for you, because it is of course what I have on my face here today. I've been using this a lot, so my thoughts are definitely very well formed on this. Before I do, this is an organic, gluten-free, and cruelty-free formulation as well. KJAER WEIS always has some of the best ingredients on the market, some of which are organic chamomile water, of course, very, very soothing, hydrating to the skin. There's hyaluronic acid, my favorite. Hyaluronic acid holds, I believe, 1,000 times its weight in water, so it helps with moisture retention on the skin. That's why this has a very slightly luminous, very, very healthy skin-like look to it. There is also organic sunflower seed and rosehip oils. That is always in the KJAER WEIS formula lineup, and my skin just really enjoys them. Very, very nourishing ingredients, along with a bunch of other things that I will include down below. Now on to the claims. First and foremost, this is a serum-like formulation, which means it has a lot of beautiful oils in there mixed with the pigments, meaning it's ultimately very, very thin and very, very skin-like. Now, if you've used something like the Gressa Minimalist Serum Foundation, it has a little bit more weight to it than that. It almost feels like there's more pigment in it than oils in it than that. So I find that this looks best not on immediate application, but once you let it sink into the skin for a moment. I find that's pretty in line with a lot of serum-like foundations, but in turn, it's almost just like completely weightless on the skin, but this does still offer a light medium coverage, which is the next claim. So it's a light medium coverage that is buildable. This I would absolutely agree with. When you go in with one initial application, you will notice a little bit of smoothing, which it does claim to smooth as well as hydrate, nourish. It does all of those things, I would say. Anyway, This light medium coverage will sort of smooth out the skin upon first application. And if you have a little bit of redness, it will help, you know, cover that up a little bit. If I have spots or, you know, a lot of redness in the skin, I sort of let concealer do the talking because I think it looks more skin-like, and some people don't mind if it doesn't look skin-like or not, and that's fine. But if you're looking for a more skin-like finish, to go in with something light on the skin, then add the coverage where needed, where concealer. That is ultimately how you're gonna get that very, very natural look to the skin, which I do think this provides while still being buildable. So you can get a medium out of this that I'm more so going to show you than speak on. And finally, it claims to have a natural and slightly luminous finish. Well, you tell me. I did go in with the KJAER WEIS translucent powder and sort of do a kiss of that all over the skin just to demonstrate that if you do have a more oily combo skin, you still can use this provided you don't mind that more luminous finish, and then you could kick down that luminous finish just a little bit because it's not a blinding, overwhelming, very, very bright. There's no glitter flecks. It's not trying to make the skin look very glowy. It's just that serum-like foundation, nourishing ingredients that sit on the skin very, very beautifully and sort of pick up the light, which I think is really beautiful. So with all of that being said, I am of course going to show you. I think this is best for a more normal, dry, mature skin type because of that finish, because of the coverage level. Obviously, if you have more acneic skin, sometimes you like something that will give you that coverage right away. I would maybe look into their cream foundation or some other more full coverage options on the website. That way you don't need to use a ton of concealer. But if you just need a little bit of coverage, I said this at the end of my demonstration portion, but I'll say it here again. If you want something that's a little bit more than a tinted moisturizer, a little bit more than a BB cream, but not full on foundation, this is where you look. So I think it's a very welcome addition. Obviously performs beautifully with the concealer, which is what I have on here today as well. But let me run through these shades here with you. We'll go into the demonstration portion and then I will sort of close with my thoughts on this very, very exciting foundation launch. So 23 shades, like I said, we're gonna power through them. If you want to look at them and see them compared to one another, I always include photos down below, so make sure that you check that out. So first up, we have the shade Whisper. Oh, actually first, let me say, these do all have corresponding numbers as well. Very, very similar to the concealers, so that again can help you shade match if you're not familiar with the cream foundation, but I'm gonna address them by their actual names here. So we have the shade Whisper, Lightness, Like Porcelain, Weightless, and Silken. Then we have the shade Refined, Ethereal, Paper Thin, which is again my shade, Feathery, and Just Sheer, which is the shade I wear when I got a little bit of color on me. Then we have the shade Polished, Illusion, Finesse, Velvety, and Transparent. Then we have Dainty, Delicate, Exquisite, Wonderful, and Flawless. And rounding everything out with Perfection, Elegance, and Impeccable. So really nice start, KJAER WEIS. I'm happy to see these immediate changes with adding more shades. That is always something I've wished and always something I say, whether it be tones of blush or colored makeup or more skin tone, so more people can love and use this stuff. So let's jump right into the demonstration portion of the video, shall we? All right, so per usual, we are in nice and close so I could show you exactly how this foundation performs. I'm gonna pair it today with the KJAER WEIS Invisible Touch Concealer as well. So since it is a serum-like foundation, you always wanna make sure to shake it. That way all the pigments, all the beautiful oils and everything like that is just well mixed. So we are getting a good ratio of everything. And what's really great is I put on an exfoliating mask that I left on for just a little bit too long, so right around here I am a little bit discolored, so we'll be able to see how it works against redness. It is across the bridge of my nose as well. That's something that'll dissipate in just a little bit here. I just took the mask off like 5 minutes ago. So I already shared this with you, but you don't get a ton of product even when you fully suction the pipette. Fortunately, I find that you need very little bit, so I will fill this thing up twice, and I will be working with like this much product. So you can see it's a really nice match for me. And I just like to sort of rub it on the back of my hand. And I'm gonna start with one side of my face so we could share the difference. I haven't primed, I haven't done anything like that, just my usual skincare before. So I like to use my fingers for this. I find with any serum-like foundation, this is always how I gravitate towards applying it. I think it helps keep the integrity of that light medium coverage that it sort of states that it has, as well as just looks the most natural on the skin. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep applying this. And again, we're just doing the half of my face so we can see the difference. You can see that it's not taking a lot to rub it into the skin. We are getting a good amount of coverage on that redness there, as well as just any discoloration on the center of my face, which there is a bit. So let's start here with that one application. You could see that I didn't really put that much product on my chin. You can see that really beautiful satin finish that it claims as well. So here's one side with, this is the side without, this is the side with one layer. So I'm gonna build it up. I'm gonna zoom you in a little bit more as well. All right, so here you can see there's definite differences. It did sort of smooth the center of my face, I think. It's not really sitting on top of the skin. However, it's not as weightless as something like Aggressa, but you can see it did a nice job at just covering that a little bit. It's not a full coverage foundation. It does not claim to be. So I'm gonna take just a little bit more of this out on the back of my hand. And I mean like half of what I applied that first time, just so I can put a little bit more in the areas where I get red, which is always the center. But the hands application makes it really, really quick and easy, which I love as well. But look at that. I mean, here we're getting to that medium that it's talking about. Again, I struggle with this quite a bit. Oh, here I'm gonna put a little bit more over that spot, even though that's something I would go in with concealer to correct. It doesn't sit the best around the nose. Serum-like foundations never do for me, so that's where I'll take the sponge and I'll tap that in. I'm just gonna take whatever's extra. All right, so looking at me straight on, you can absolutely tell which side has what. There's that really beautiful luminous finish that it describes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this half of my face off camera now that you were able to see the difference between the two. I'm gonna put on a little bit of concealer as well, and then I'll show you the final look once it's been sitting on my skin for just a moment. Okay, everyone, so this is face fully foundationed. You can see it really lives up to that light medium coverage claim. I would also say it absolutely lives up to that very, that natural and slightly luminous finish as well. You can see it's not overly bright and dewy. It just kind of looks like I'm having a good skin day, which I really love. The only place that I have a little bit of struggle is right here around my nose. It's usually right here and right around my nose. I do have more dry skin, so nothing that a little bit of a sponge can't help. Now, what I quickly wanted to do is just show you how you could take down the shine just a little bit if maybe you have a little bit more of a combination skin type. The KJAER WEIS translucent powder is a great option because it is just very light in its application, even when you really load up the brush. So you can see I'm just gonna take a touch of this. This will of course just increase the wear time, take down the shine a little bit, but still allow your skin to breathe. What I like about this is that it is not a full-on matte powder, but it will set everything into place. And you can see just that little topical shine has sort of dissipated, and everything else is just sort of set into place. Underneath my eyes, which this is irrelevant, I do like to use just a kiss of the 100% pure bamboo powder, something just a little bit more mattifying and full on. But you can see the powder didn't at all exacerbate the foundation. This is a great option if you're looking for something very, very lightweight, wearable, easy, and just to get an overall coverage of the skin, but maybe a little bit more than a BB cream or a tinted moisturizer. So I hope you found this demonstration portion helpful, and I'm going to sign off. All right, everyone, that is it. That is the KJAER WEIS Invisible Touch Liquid Foundation, swatched, demoed, discussed. What I wanted to talk about here at the end of this video before I sign off is the wear time of this product. I'm sure some of you are very, very curious about that. So I think serum foundations perform so nicely on the skin, especially when you get just a little bit of powder to extend the wear. I wanted to mention that this is a great mask foundation because it's so weightless on the skin. I don't like to wear the KJAER WEIS cream foundation when I am at work or anything like that because it just sort of really transfers back on the mask and I don't think there's much of a point. However, I still like putting on a full face because when I do my eyes, which I always like to make sure I do, I think it looks weird if you don't apply anything else. So sometimes I'll skip highlight and blush, but foundation I always make sure to include. This is a great one for that. If you want to extend the life of this even longer, you can always apply a primer, but I really think that this has a very good wear time on its own. When it starts to break up, it is in all the usual places for me around the nose and the chin. It's not all day cement on the skin. I have yet to meet a natural foundation that does perform like that, but this will get you through a full workday, and I think it's because since it already settles on the skin so nicely due to its lightweight texture, you don't have to worry about it really disappearing and, you know, sort of melting off the skin, especially because it's more of a light coverage to begin with anyway. But this is a great one if you're on the go. It's so easy to apply with the hands. I love that about this. Again, dry, mature, normal skin types, I think you're gonna love this best, but I can see this working on anyone provided you don't mind a slightly luminous, more skin-like finish and a serum-like texture on the skin. But that's new from KJAER WEIS. Really, really exciting one, guys. I really, really like this. I mean, you tell me, let me know how you think this looks on the skin. I think if you're having difficulty with this, you think it's sitting, make sure you're applying the proper skincare in advance. It makes a world of difference, I'm telling you, as well as, you know, sometimes a sponge can make it look more natural on the skin as well, but I really think the fingers allow you to get it nice and warm and settle in all the areas that you want it to as nicely as you want it to. So please don't forget that I'm going to include swatch photos of every single shade that I discussed here today, which is all of them, in the description box down below. Questions, comments, concerns, any difficulty you're having with this foundation, first of all, let me know. I only have one face. I would love to know what you all think in ways that I can assist you in loving this. The one downside is the packaging. That pipette leaves a little bit to be desired. It's not the end of the world. I think it's at a fair price point as well, provided you don't mind it being capless. But please, before you go, give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. I upload new videos here every single week. I don't want you guys to miss them. Check out our social media. I do one IGTV video a month as well, but they are posting over there daily with sales, new products, new information to know, very, very exciting stuff, and I always include that down below as well. If you want to know what I have on my face, always check down below, and if anything is not mentioned, please do not hesitate to ask. But thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for the continued immense love and support. I appreciate you so much for it, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye!